Social media nearly killed my running. I got into running through the hustle culture and personal development side and copying people like David Goggins. And although that side was really beneficial in one area because it led to me completing challenges like the 100k, the 4x4x48 or the Run the Date challenge, upon reflection it also harmed my running journey. Quick disclaimer, this isn't me slating anyone or social media. It is just an honest reflection of my own running journey and how social media impacted that, and one particular area of social media. So firstly, let's get into the reason I started running. And it actually has nothing to do with running. I was around 21, 22 years old. We were just coming out of the COVID pandemic and I started listening to all the self-development podcasts and reading all the books, and overall, that was a net positive. To open up a little bit and not get too deep, so, just brace yourself. I was in a great place back then and had a very victim mindset. I used to blame the world for everything bad that happened to me, and I wasn't independent at all. I'm still not in some aspects. You should see me in the kitchen. I'm awful in the kitchen, and I don't think I ever will be independent in the kitchen because it stresses me out and I don't want to deal with it. But a lot of these podcasts talked about men being weak these days. And there was also this massive thing online with masculinity and what is the role of a man, what is a man supposed to do? And it was all very, very confusing at the time and difficult as a young man to navigate and know what I was actually supposed to do. That's a bit besides the point, that's a whole different topic. But one message that grabbed hold of me was David Goggins' message, shouting who's going to carry the boats, and running for days on end and putting yourself in the absolute bin and really feeling how hard things can be and getting through it. That was a message that sort of grabbed a hold of me. So I thought that was what I needed to do at the time to become a better man and person. And by the way, this is also going to sound like I don't like David Goggins. I actually do, and absolutely think there is a place for his message in the world and on social media. I think it was a thing that got me going. I just then started to take it too far. I think with everything on social media, you need to take it with a pinch of salt and apply it to your own context and take learnings from everyone and apply it into this sort of mosaic of learning. That was quite poetic, wasn't it? Mosaic of learning. Wow. Without that Goggins message, I may never have got up and done anything, and I may not have achieved the things that I have done. This is just my opinion of how that's evolved over time for me. In 2023, I started with 1,000k for the year, which was about 20k a week, which was more than I'd ever really done in a week ever. And that was a great goal. And towards the end of the year, I started doing to 30k. But then the social media started to get a bit more grindy, a bit more you need to be running at 3 a.m. in the dark and suffering because if you don't, you're worthless type thing. I started going down into that hole. So I did the Run the Date challenge. Added benefit, I did it for cancer research and we raised over £2,000. That was a win. But a part of me, I think I did do it for ego. And then 5 months later, I did the 4x4x48 challenge, which I just did just to see if I could do it. And then 5 months after that, I ran my own 100k around my local area. I did a 10k loop just to see if I could do it. And upon reflection, none of these challenges were about running or the joy of running. They're all about trying to change my mindset. And although trying to change my mindset is a good thing, it killed running for me and I started to hate it. I was constantly thinking if I didn't do something this hard that I was just a weak man and pointless. I did them to fuel my own ego of trying to be better than others, because if I'd ran longer than someone that day, then I was better than them. But that's not what running is about. Running is about going and trying to beat the person you were yesterday or last week or last month or last year or 10 years ago, and constantly going on this journey of improvement, or just getting out and running with other people and moving. It doesn't matter how far you run. If you get out the door and you run 1 kilometre or you pop on a treadmill, you're a runner. It got a bit unhealthy and I started to realise that I wasn't running for the right reasons, and I really started to get burnt out. So in that aspect, social media is a bit of 50-50 because it got me into running, and maybe I wouldn't have found my joy of running without running for the wrong reasons, but it did also nearly kill running for me. And I was going down this path of running just being awful, but then I changed one thing and it reignited a love for it. After the 100k, I injured my hip and I couldn't run for about 2 months. I piled on a little bit of weight, so I decided to do 75 hard. And one of my 45 minutes of exercise was just me walking because I couldn't run. And this gave me a lot of reflecting time on running. And I really started to miss it, especially as the weather gets nicer in spring. And I thought back to when I enjoyed running the most. And it was probably that year where I did 1,000k for the year. I wasn't training for any races. I wasn't doing anything ridiculous. I was just running 20k a week. I was running 3 times a week and I wasn't killing myself. So as my hip got better, as I was treating some of my gym sessions as rehab during 75 hard, I changed my goal and I started running for fun again. I didn't try and hit a weekly distance to start with. I didn't try and hit any times or paces. I just went out to run for fun. As I got a bit fitter again, I started to go out 3 times a week, and maybe I'd just try and run a little bit harder, a little bit faster. I started to really enjoy pushing myself in running faster, but there was no pressure on a time. It was just all to feel. I'd run with my girlfriend, and then I'd eventually joined a run club, which made running even more fun because I was running with other people and we were having a chat, and then we were pushing ourselves and it was a bit of fun competition. And then I built it back up to 20k a week and then 30k a week. And then I decided I was going to do the half marathon in September, but instead of burying myself in training, I'd still take this fun approach to running, and I loved it. I did what was right for me at the time, but most importantly, I put fun and love of running first instead of listening to what other people said on social media in telling me what I needed to do. Although my step back was forced through injury, it was something that I needed to sort of recalibrate. How'd you say that word? Recalibrate how I thought about running. Now, with all this being said, you might think that I hate social media and the online running community, and there's also a lot of noise going on about runner and people getting stress fractures, but that's a different point. But it's not true. I've now just found little areas of the internet, little corners that align to more how I see running now. I watch channels such as Benner's Running, Philly Bowden, Hugo Fry, Nick Bester, Run with Liz, The Running Channel, and so many more. Social media is great for learning about what others do, what looks cool, what sessions are they doing, is there anything you can take from them, but take snippets from them. You can't copy someone else completely because, well, you're not them. I've got some great tips from listening and learning to these people, but I can't go and do Ran to Japan's mileage because, well, he's on the London Elite marathon time. I haven't even ran an official marathon. Some of these sessions that I've got from these people have helped me get my 10k and half marathon PB within the last 6 months. I also can't hate social media that much because I'm using it to tell you about my own journey. What I've learned is it depends how you use it and adapt it for your own message. Sometimes when I don't want to go for a run, I do need the David Goggins get up, go and grind message to get me out of bed, to get me off the sofa and to go out and get my run done. Sometimes I don't. I need to listen to a funny podcast and go out for my run. Sometimes I also think it might be best to skip a run if I'm not feeling great and my body doesn't want to do it. That grind, motivation, hustle culture space can be really useful. I just try not to let it absolutely consume me now to the point where I destroy a hobby that I love. So comparing yourself to others on social media isn't always the best way to go, but you can actually also use comparison in quite a healthy way. And if you want to find out how I do that, then why not click here to find out a bit more? Please do.